Hey Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Welcome to the July 11th edition of Saints TV Weekly. I hope you all had pretty good weekends, minus Saturday night. If you had a good Friday night, good Saturday morning, afternoon, and then the rest of the Sunday. Hopefully a good Monday morning so far. But yeah, Saturday night obviously is not something we want to talk about too much, but this is Saints TV Weekly. We cover all the news, and unfortunately, Saturday night was news, so let's get straight into it. We took on Fremantle at Marvel Stadium on Saturday night, and it was a big game. We win that, we're in the top 8. At the moment, we lose that, we're basically where we are going into that game, and first half was pretty good. We were leading, we probably should have been further ahead. Everything looked good across the ground, forward line was functioning pretty well. Midfield was getting a lot of clearances, and the back line, for the most part, was holding up in the absence of Dougal Howard, but second half happened. They kicked 11 goals to 3. We turned to shit, and we went down by 41 points, 70 to 111. And puts us in a really tough position now. We basically can only lose, I'd say, 2 more games for the rest of the year, the way we're going. We really need to beat the Bulldogs on Friday night and then hope to beat Hawthorn and West Coast in those next 2 games. So we really need to win the next 3 to give ourselves any chance. If we lose any one of them, season is probably done. A lot of people probably arguing that season's done already with that performance, and it just wasn't what we wanted. We wanted the boys to turn up, and they turned up for half the game, but you're not going to play half a game and get the job done against a team like Fremantle. You really need to play a full game, and they were very well drilled in the second half. They were clinical. Their small forwards, Frederick, Banfield, their mids, Brody, Fife, kick 3. Darcy even kicked 2, lob 2. Shuntz and Brayshaw, they all chipped in front of a very average crowd, I thought. Only 21,000 on a Saturday night in a big game for the club. I don't know why we can't pull crowds. It just bewilders me. It's really disappointing, but I can understand after a performance like that, you'd rather watch it from home. So that's the performance on Saturday night. It was absolute shit. The umpiring was no better, and we went down by 41 points. Keeps us in 9th position on the ladder, with I think 3 teams below us still that have bigger percentages than us. So that shows how bad we've been lately. That our percentage is not even close to being the best in the bottom 8. So Friday night footy, Bulldogs up next. It's going to be a big one for both teams, looking to bounce back after disappointing losses. Speaking of the Bulldogs, Sandy played the Bulldogs in the VFL, and yeah, just the same thing. It was a pretty close first half. Second half, it was a 9-2 second half, the Bulldogs to Sandy, and they went down by 54 points at Trevor Barker Oval. It just coincides with the AFL. When we were winning in the first half of the year, Sandy was doing really well, and now second half of the year, it's getting a bit hard. Sandy performances have really dropped off as well. So it's a bit of a worry that it's so, when we're down in the AFL, we're down in the VFL. It just really kind of runs through the whole club, VFL to AFL level. Leo Connolly was very good though. He had 27 disposals and 10 marks running out of defence. Ryan Burns, 25 disposals, 7 tackles. Was very good. And then you've got Tom Campbell, 1 goal, 24 disposals, 32 hitouts in the ruck. Ben Patton dropped in recent weeks, 24 disposals, 5 tackles. Jared Lynett, 19 disposals, 11 rebound 50s. And Jack Paris was impressive with 21 disposals as well. So, not to mention Cooper Sharman, 15 disposals and 6 marks. And Ben Long, 12 disposals. A bit quiet there in his front. So, not a great performance there at VFL level. I think they're now dropping to 10th or 11th on the ladder. While they had a pretty good surge. They're now 12th actually on the ladder. And they were in the top 8 for close to the top 4 for the most part of the first 10 weeks, similar to the AFL team. So we really need to see some improvements at VFL level. That makes it a bit of a difficult job this week for bringing players into AFL, because we had a bad performance at AFL level, and you'd like to think that VFL could play well, and you've got options there to bring players in, but at this point we don't. They're all slightly out of form, and I think it's going to make it a tough week in the selection committee to pick a team to play the Bulldogs. Now for some AFLW news, Simone Nalder has joined St Kilda's AFLW primary list for season 7, replacing Leah Cutting for the campaign ahead. Cutting's unavailability comes due to work commitments back in South Australia, so because of that we've been able to sign Simone Nalder, which is going to be great. AFLW season, I think, kicks off in August or September. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not too far away, so it'll be exciting to see Nalder join the crew on top of Naomi Anderson, Hannah Stewart, Deanna Jolliffe, and Caitlin Matthews on the club's list for Season 7, which kicks off very soon. So welcome to the club, and hopefully have a massive season ahead of the AFLW season in the next couple of months. Now for some more signing news. This one, it's a bit bittersweet now, isn't it? It doesn't feel right to talk about it this week, but it didn't happen last week, and that was the signing of Ratten. He got a 2-year extension. I hate that this always seems to happen. You sign a coach for 2 years, then you put up a performance like we did on Saturday night, and it just... Now everyone's like, why did we do that? And I agree to an extent. I feel like he's not like Brett Ratten was an in-demand coach. It's not like we needed to get his signature done now. I think it's just a sign of faith, and maybe that something that would go through the footy club, go through the players to show that they're committed to Ratten, and therefore maybe that helps us kind of get out of this rut and maybe make finals and get on a bit of a run. But it was the exact opposite. We didn't perform. More question marks raised on Ratten's coaching, and just the players being able to receive a message and to be able to deliver and execute it. And you never like signing a coach for an extended period and then putting up a bad loss like that days later. So it is good news in a way because we've got that locked in. There's no sort of up in the air on Clarko, but I think you'd really hope that in the next couple of weeks we do bring our best and we finish the year strong. Whether we make finals or not, we need to see a blueprint on what Ratten can do long term. And if we miss finals again this year, that's 2 years in a row. And the year we made it was COVID year and it was a bit up in the air. So you'd like to think that in the next 5 or 6 weeks we can see some good performances and hopefully not be questioning Ratten being signed on for a further 2 years beyond this week would be ideal. And lastly, before question time, we signed 3 youngsters, which was great. Local products, Marcus Winhager, Mitch Owens, and Max Heath have all secured their futures at the Saints, signing new 2-year contracts this week, which is awesome. Winhager and Owens will remain at the club until at least the end of 2025, while Max Heath will stay in the red, white and black until at least the end of 2024. So Jamie Gallagher sorted that out during the week, which is great. It's always good when you can sign your youngsters long term. You really need to keep them to become, that new wave of talent, that new core for the St Kilda Football Club, and they've all got a lot of talent. Max Heath we haven't seen at AFL level yet, but he's doing very well at VFL level. And you've got Owens and Winhager, and especially Winhager has been great in the last couple of weeks. And Owens, we know what he's capable of, and we can't wait to see more of him at AFL level. So really good news there. A bit of positive news on top of a really down weekend to sign on those 3 youngsters for a further 2 years. Now lastly, let's get through it. Question time. Straight into it. This one's from Tom. He's no fuss on this question from Tom. Can we still make finals? Annoyingly, yes, Tom. Annoyingly, yes. I want to just cut the fat. I just want to say, no, we can't, so we can get on with it. But we can, and that's why it's so frustrating going to the footy, because there's still that little bit of hope. That little glint of hope where you're like, if we win this, we're in the top 8 or we're close to it. So if we win this game on Friday night, we're in the top 8 temporarily, depending on other future results of the round. But I don't even think we need to talk about finals. Let's just not even talk about it. Now, can we just play some consistent footy for the rest of the year? And if that gets us into a position of playing finals, great. If it doesn't, so what? But yes, we can still make finals. Whether I think we deserve to at the moment, I don't think we deserve to at the moment. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. This one's from Isaac. What went wrong in the second half? I think Freo put Fife in the middle of the ground and we had no response to that. I think that we looked a bit tired, but I don't want to say fitness was an issue because we had an 8-day break and Freo had a 6-day break. And I think a big thing was mental. I think the umpiring decisions really got to us, particularly late in that third term where it just got out of hand. And that really put us off. And we reverted back to the bombing style, and we weren't doing that in the first half of the game, and we were leading and kicking the ball flat and low and to players on the move, and in the second half we were kicking it to players that were static and not doing anything with the footy, just asking for it on the top of their heads. And Max King was a big culprit of that, and so were our other tools in the forward line. So I think there were a number of things that went wrong, but I think majority of it was, again, mentality. And lastly, from Caleb, 21,000 Saturday night prime time, probably 5,000 Freo fans. Not good enough. What are your thoughts? Spot on. 21,000 on a Saturday night game when we're playing a top 4 team with the chance of making finals. Imagine our players running out there and being like, cool, everyone here gives us shit when we lose. They're not even rocking up to help us get over the line here. And I think our team is a team that needs supporters at the ground to really drive that emotion, drive that motivation. And when they see a low crowd like that, and Freo fans were louder than us in a lot of the stages in the second half, which is not surprising that given the way the game was being played, I can see why the players are affected by that. And I think it's on us as supporters to get to games more. And regardless of whether we're winning or not, I mean, this is off the back of beating Carlton the week before in front of 44,000. And we bring 21 the next week to the Fremantle game. That's not good enough, Zaners. Like, this week against the Dogs, despite the loss we had, this is still a big game. It's basically another elimination final. We lose this, we're done. We win this, season's still alive. Let's try and get 35,000 at least. You know, come on. We know the Bulldogs fans will probably turn up. They're getting players back. Bruce is going to be back. Bailey Smith will be back. They're going to be feeling pretty good about their chances of beating us. We need to rock up as well because this is a 50-50 game. And those little edges, you know, whether it's crowd motivation or whatever, can play a big factor in the end result. There you have it, Saints. That is Saints TV Weekly for another week. It is not the most fun Saints TV Weekly, I have to say. But nonetheless, I hope you have a great rest of your week. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please hit subscribe. We're nearly on 4,000 subs, and it'd be great to get that in the next week or two. And my next video will obviously be the big preview for the Bulldogs game. That should be out around Wednesday, around this time Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. And tonight, back in the studio, podcast, me, Joycey, and Marshy to dissect the whole weekend and just Saints footy in general. So stay tuned for that as well. But until then, Saints, take care of yourselves, enjoy the rest of your week, and as always, go you mighty Sailors. See you guys.